What up, crew? Just wanted to let you know that I'm headed back to WorkbenchCon. I went last year. It was so much fun. There's so many cool makers. And I decided to fly over the pond and do it again. But before I go, I wanted to show you what I made. So I 3D printed their logo in kind of like a Mobius strip, kind of weird spiral thing. There's some pretty cool ways when you look at it through the lens, how the perspective makes it look exactly like the logo. It's sometimes hard to capture on camera, but in person, it looks pretty cool. I also hooked it up to have some magnets to hold on for this T. So it's got this gold Fortnum & Mason T if you want to have it as a stand, or just have it snap onto a refrigerator or something magnetic underneath. Let me show you how I did this build. So I started out in Fusion with a spiral, and to be honest, this took quite a while to figure out how to get the exact dimensions of what I wanted. I ended up cutting out a hole in the middle to make the overall thickness around 1/2 inch. I then took a canvas of the logo to match where I wanted the tape measure cuts to be. I sketched out each of these and then sliced through them. I then bring it into my Dremel slicer settings. Now, I'm not worried about doing a plane cut on the bottom in Fusion because I can lower the STL in Dremel and it will cut the bottom where I want. It gives you more options when you want to print rather than being stuck with whatever you did in Autodesk. The red means that there's over 50 degrees and will fail, so I'm putting support everywhere. And what do you know? It was a complete success without me ever checking in on it. The print time was about 28 hours with 0.3 millimeters of wall thickness. I believe I did this on 15% infill. I absolutely love this flexible magnetic plate. It makes the whole scraping of the bottom of a print a thing of the past, and it keeps really nice quality. You can see some stringiness where the nozzle moved across on the X or Y axis, but this can be expected for so much support material being created. I printed in this beautiful gold PLA filament from Dremel, and it perfectly matches the back color of the WorkbenchCon W logo. Alright, let's get to removing it. So there was a lot more twisting and scraping out the filament, but let's move on to everyone's favorite hobby, sanding. Now, a tip I've learned the hard way is to not use any sort of machine sander because it heats up the material too much and starts to melt or deform the print. So we're stuck doing everything by hand at a relaxing, slow pace. But this gives us a chance to catch up on radio tunes. I'm working my way down the grits of sandpaper to around 150 for a smooth finish. I kind of want the Z-axis lines that the printer makes to show a little bit because it gives it a cool texture. Sometimes it's better to hide that an object was 3D printed, but since I'm keeping the gold color on the back, the lines will be visible anyways. And if it's coming from me, people are probably gonna guess that it's 3D printed. Now, when you sand, you do lose that shiny finish when it first comes out of the printer, but I'll show you a little trick on how to get that back in just a bit. First, we just want to knock off all the rough edges and give something for the paint to stick to. after tons more sanding and filing, I'm doing something that may look stupid, which, well, yeah. But if you take a torch very lightly to the surface, it will remove the white dust and bring back the original color of the filament. Again, you gotta take your time with all this because once the filament heats up too much, it will warp and there's no going back. So I make sure it's cool before hitting it again with the flame. And here you can see the difference on the sanded side and the freshly torched surface. These are some heavy-duty rare earth magnets held in with Gorilla superglue, so it will definitely stick to any tea can out there. I then gave the magnets a coat of paint off camera. If you're also in Atlanta for this weekend, let me know. I'd love to see you. We can have some British tea. And if you wanted to see this in person, it looks kind of cool and it's kind of weird. Anyway, looking forward to it. Can't wait. Quote out. Flying out.